right. This is it right here. Ground zero of the James Bond songs.
It's a money.
Oh God, it is the gold standard of the James Bond songs.
Gold standard.
Exactly. Take it, Shirley. He's the man with the Midas touch. Oh, all right. Well, a spider's touch. Thank you for joining us tonight on Double O Deep Dive. Well, Pop Culture Pro's home for everything 007 James Bond. Whether you're joining us live on the site, on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us in Memorex, catching us on a podcast, listening to us at some point in the future, thanks for the support. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for listening. I am your host, as always, Goldfinger himself, Jason. And with me, as always, the 006 to my 007, the odd job to my Goldfinger, the Tilly Masterson to my Jill Masterson.
Jill Masterson.
Ginny, how are you tonight?
I'm great. So excited to talk about this movie. This is the best.
I could have done this movie without watching it again today. Of course I was not going to let an opportunity go by without watching it, but this is it, Ginny. This is, and I've said this before, this is where my love of the franchise really starts, where it really comes in. And I've seen this movie. I watch this movie at least once a year, and I've done so for a long time.
As you should. This is the classic. This is like, I actually like revisit. I need to rewatch this with my husband because I think this is just kind of, maybe watch this now much older, sitting down properly, and like all of my attention onto this movie, me going, yeah, especially when it comes to rankings, I go, this is it. This is kind of the top. This is like creme de la creme of, I don't know, just like this is where everything comes together. This is the genre. This is the, maybe tone, or this sets the precedent, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like this, we were talking about like it with the last two, about ways that we see that the tropes are being set, the precedents are being etched out. But like so much of it is here, right? This is the first proper weird fucking Q branch we get. Mm-hmm. This is, the pontificating villain who is there. Like Goldfinger is in this movie, like it's called Goldfinger, and he's maybe got less screen time than Sean Connery, but that's about it.
When I first know, is that you see him so early, and I go, we're just jumping into their relationship. They meet right away, like
they do. First 5 minutes of the movie, he's just messing with Goldfinger, like, but yeah. So many of the precedents, and then this. So and talking about precedents, this cold open, right? Like we didn't get a cold open in Dr. No. The cold open with From Russia with Love is interesting but weird, and we never get anything like that again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite type of cold open, where it's like it has nothing to do with the mission that we're about to get. This is the end of the last James Bond movie that they just didn't make, And
spot on.
Oh my God, he rolls up with a freaking hat in the water, with a hat with a bird on his head, submerges from the water, and just like scales a wall into a palace.
I like screamed, and I also rewound it because I was like, I missed something. I was like, no, it's a hat, it's a headpiece, and they like, and that's a little Roger Moore territory, but I still loved it. I still was like, this is fun. This is fun.
Yeah, fun is the exact thing, and then he gets into wherever the stuff is that he's go the MacGuffin. Doesn't actually matter. This is the end of a movie we're never gonna see, and he blows it to hell. And then he escapes, and then he just like takes his wetsuit off, and he's got this swanky, perfectly pressed white suit, and he just goes out for a drink and a cigarette in a bar.
Oh, I loved it. I was like, I think I was like, oh, hey, that the way the white tux is so him.
Oh God, it really is.
I don't know if anyone else wears one. Does Roger Moore? It doesn't matter because I'm always like clouded by how good and how kind of iconic, Sean Connery is in that. Man, And man, and right away, so many ladies.
Oh my god! Like he literally. So yeah, the explosion happens. Everyone runs. He's sitting there smoking his cigarette, drinking. One of his someone comes over, like someone he's working with. They give you the run. They actually do give you the plot to the James Bond movie we're never gonna get. It's like they were smuggling heroin and like bananas or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But
I can remember
yeah. But then, like, he goes to visit. And he's like, I've got some unfinished business, and his unfinished business is to have sex.
Yeah, and it's very classy. She's in a tub, and he just comes over, and it's all like, oh, she's been waiting for him, as we assume, or you know. And so many good lines, man. We're just having fun. We're like, I say fun because the jokes, the bit where he has a gun because he's still from his previous mission, and she bumps into it, and she goes like, oh, what is that? And or what did she say? She's like, oh,
she says, why do you always wear your gun? And he says, his response is, it's my
inferiority complex.
That's it. It's my inferiority complex, and that's it. Just moving on. Now put the gun away. Let's get naked.
Oh my gosh, that gives me a Daniel Craig vibes a little bit.
For sure.
Or he probably he channels the Sean Connery vibes, but I was like, I was like a squeen with joy. Yeah. And then more craziness. We just jump right into say pun and tradition, and
yes, this is where the quips start, right? He maybe gets one quip that. Maybe it was a quip, maybe it wasn't from Russia with Love. He is just firing them out in this. He gets like 6 or 7 throughout the movie.
So many, and they're all great. But just like fantastic. The action happens, and my favorite is that he's kissing this woman, and she sees a villain coming from behind, and he sees her in her eye, the reflection of the man coming to attack, and then he turns her around. She takes a hit, like a punch, and then they have a huge fight scene. I was just dying because I was kind of like, it shouldn't be funny, but because she's a villainess, and yeah, it was so great.
And it's fantastic. And then of course the guy is in the bathtub, and he's going for Bond's gun because he comes back, and Bond looks and he sees this plugged-in fan and swats it, and he electrocutes the guy. And here it comes, Ginny. You want to do it?
Oh my gosh! And shocking, right?
Yeah, shocking, positively shocking,
Just like the double entendre of just oh my goodness! Like, I'm ashamed of all of you.
I mean, yeah, Bond is like, guys, you should have been able to do that. Come on. I mean, you literally could have just caught me with my pants down. You jumped the gun on this one.
Too early. But also, he just, he saw the pun and he had to take it. He saw the opportunity.
He had to. And he really got a taste for it. He really got a taste for it here.
And once you do, you don't stop, really. If you're good at puns, you don't stop.
Hey, why stop something you're good at and you enjoy?
I know. It delights millions.
And like, that's our cold open, guys. It has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. It's my favorite cold open in the franchise. You're going to hear me say this a lot. This is my favorite cold open in the franchise because it tells you everything you need to know about this James Bond in this movie. With like almost nothing, without even touching the plot.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's just fun, its own separate little adventure. Really, every one of them should be like that if we were creative.
Right, and that's kind of what I love about it too. It's like it implies that we see the real big crazy ones where he's going up against like metal-handed terrorists and stuff, but there's a lot of stuff we just don't show you because it's just like stopping drug cartels.
We're just maybe not as exciting, but
right. I mean, we get there in the Dalton era, but like for this, it's like no, that's not Cold War stuff. We're not getting into that.
Oh man. That was so much fun. So much fun.
I love that cold open. And then bang, the Shirley Bassey kicks up. And this, again, like we did not get a song for Dr. No. Mm-mm. And From Russia with Love is a fine song. But the pomp and circumstance of this, the gravitas, and it smacks you in the face and just drags you around, and it's wonderful.
And it won the Oscar? Did
I
it
think
win an Oscar? It must have.
it must have. It must have.
I
Let me
can't
look that up.
imagine. But I go, this song also is comforting to me. I can't explain it. I just it's her voice. It's everything. It's all attitude.
Yeah,
It's
and
all
it's and
power.
her voice, she belts and never lets it go.
Mm-mm,
Like,
mm-mm.
I know singers. We were in community theater. We all know singers, and you know that there are people who can belt, but then
Yeah.
they gotta kind of pull it back for their breath. This woman's not breathing in this song.
No. She's a goddess, and she knows it. And she is like, oh
Yeah,
God, she's the sassiest human being on earth. She's a dame. She was knighted
was she
essentially. Dame
knighted?
Shirley Bassey.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes, of course
awesome.
she's a dame. Oh, we should be
I
using her proper title. She's
we
like
absolutely
noble.
that
Um,
yeah. Dane Shirley
Shirley
Bassey.
Bassey,
That's how I will say it from now
I
on.
believe.
It did not win an Oscar. It was not even nominated. Apparently,
Unfair. I
yeah.
would
No,
like to
very unfair.
rude, horrible. I feel like they rectified that maybe a few years later.
I
Maybe
think
I'm
yes. It
wrong.
says I can't read the whole thing now, but it did say that the Oscars made up for it at some point.
So,
They probably threw her like a posthumous lifetime achievement award.
as they
Good.
should.
I mean,
But
why not? What does it hurt them? Throw everyone up. We can throw me a posthumous lifetime achievement award when I'm gone.
come on,
Who
Oscars.
cares?
um, what was the only thing I can say about this song is, have you seen the movie, the stupid spy movie? It's a spoof, Spy Hard.
Oh, with Val Kilmer?
Oh, it's no, Leslie Nielsen. It's like from the 90s.
Oh God,
It's not
yeah.
good.
I don't think I have seen it,
It's
because I kind of like that was when he was doing Dracula Dead and Loving It.
yes.
That's when he like kind of knew he was funny and he was in on the joke, and I kind of backed away from it.
Yeah. The only funny thing about that movie is the opening where it's like a literal parody of Goldfinger, but it's just called Spy Hard, and it's Weird Al Yankovic is singing it, and it's not a good song. Like, it's kind of like a parody song, but it's like silly. And they're making fun of Bond openings, but the end of like Goldfinger, where she's like, he loves only gold, dun dun dun, dun. Yeah, he loves
Yeah,
only gold.
I knew if I sat on this for a while, it would come in handy. Thank you, Tim.
It's just like he loves gold, and she's like that gold, and like it goes really high. But that's what in Spy Hard, it's weird to think of it going, "You're watching Spy Hard," and like it has to hold out this long note. I was reminded of it, which is funny.
That is really funny. See, I was watching this. Funny enough, like thinking about when we did the Austin Powers movies, and it made me angry with what they did because this, and we'll get to it like when we get to talking about Goldfinger himself. This is my villain. Like that's like so many of my favorites from this franchise is this. And I think what did Mike Myers gave us? Mike Myers on coke, made with a stupid accent that he doesn't actually.
Yeah.
Like, Auric Goldfinger has a slight German accent because the man was German. He wasn't like, I eat gold flakes of skin, yeah, eat that weird. Like, what the fuck was that? And it made me angry again, all over again, that Goldmember exists.
And it's also the idea that, like, because he's not, I think even when I was younger, I was watching this going like, well, he's just like a blustery old man who loves gold, and like he has an obsession. He like painted a woman gold, but he's not. He says he loves gold. He's like a fascination with an obsession with it, but that he's like has just made it his like life's work, and like hoarding it and sort of like illegally working with it, but not. I don't know, not like. His doesn't have a palace decked out in gold. He's not a cliche.
Right. Like the most you get is he's always got a gold hue in his clothes somewhere.
Yeah, or his staff might be a little bit
right.
The bad dazzled.
So like getting real quick to give snippets of the book, because I did actually finish this book. It is implied that Goldfinger in the book is kind of like obtains sexual gratification like from gold as a fetish, because he pays. There's a whole thing about like there's a story about painting the women gold.
Okay,
because the Mastersons get a lot more to do in the book.
I assume that it's so bad.
Yeah, it's we'll get to it. There are dings against this movie
of
that
course,
I'm going to
well,
take and then apologize for, because I do love this movie. But but so he pays women $1,000 to allow him to have them painted gold, except for the patch at the base of the neck, so their skin
Which,
could breathe.
yes.
And so he does that for, and then they don't say what he does afterward, but then he gives him $1,000 and lets him go. So it's like that kind of sounds like a fetish, sexual fetish to me.
But that's probably like you do on OnlyFans that can do that, but nothing happens. Like they might just be gold, and their guys are like, "I'm good, I'm done. Like thank you for today," and that's it. That's all they have to see.
Right? Like that's it. Like I don't think he's having sex with them.
No, and
I think it's like he's taking it all in, putting it in the spank bank, as a '90s or a 2000s comedy would say, and then using it for later. But I definitely think there's a sexual component.
Interesting, and there's so many. This movie dances around a lot of different things just with like a line of dialogue to
No, it definitely does. But all right, so yeah, the song's great. We're going off format here because we're just gushing about this movie.
And you know what I don't like about this opening, and maybe it just this is so noticeable because I love like seeing the women in gold. That's gorgeous. I just go because they have the movie projected scenes from the movie that we're gonna see projected on the bodies, and I'm like, I don't want to see. You can give me like faces, but I don't want to see like clips of the movie I'm gonna watch.
And I caught something for the first time, Ginny. For the first time, and I've seen this movie. It's got to be 100 times I've seen this movie. One of those, and I only caught it because we're doing this show. One of those clips is not, in fact, from the movie, but is the North by Northwest helicopter scene from Russia with Love.
No, it's
yes,
not.
It is. It is. And I only recognized it because I made a comment on it. And I was like, wait, he does that again? Like in this? And I was like, no, that's the exact same thing. Yeah. Rewatch the credits. It's closer to the end. But yeah, one of it is a scene where he's like running from the helicopter.
Oh my gosh. God, give me just scenes that just aren't in our movie.
and thank you, boss man. I appreciate that. That was a deep pull for me. You know, it's been a couple decades. But yeah, I agree. Like it was. I feel that the visuals could have been better. Like it was kind of a rehashing of what they did from Russia with Love, with except that had belly dancing, and this was just still gold women.
Yeah, just laying down.
But yeah, again, like the song is amazing.
I know you stay and you watch and you're like enthralled. And again, it's very languid and sort of, gorgeous. We're in for it. We're not stopping. We're just, one peak after the next.
And then we go right into this beautiful shot of Malibu, right? And Bond is at a resort. And this is what starts off.
Or it's Miami. It's Miami.
Oh,
right?
Miami. I'm sorry. I said Malibu. Miami. It's Miami. Yeah. And I'm going to say this right now to start off our talk about the James Bond portrayal here. It's one of my favorites. But this movie shows just what a bad spy James Bond is.
Didn't they say that after the post credits? They're like, you almost screwed up.
Yes.
The last mission. You were so close to like getting
away, and you had to stop. And he says, he looks kind of shamefacedly at him, and he goes, "Well, my shortcoming." No, it happens after this. It happens after what he pulls with Goldfinger.
Yes.
But he says, "My shortcomings, acknowledged. I'd like to continue with the mission." It's like, ooh, Bond is eating crow right now.
I know. He was great. He was like so awesome. Or last role, he just his gun. So maybe he's a little messy, but
yeah, I mean,
whatever. He's not perfect.
He gets the job done.
He's just not perfect. That's fine. That's okay.
He acknowledges it and moves on. But yeah, so he goes to Miami, and we have, and this is the introduction, in my opinion, of the really misogynist Bond. I don't think we got it in the last two, but he's super misogynist in this one. And he's getting a rub down by a woman named Dink.
Really? Oh, I wasn't.
Yeah. And Felix Leiter comes up. Our good old friend Felix Leiter is always played by a different actor.
A different actor. I didn't like this one. I don't like this Felix. I didn't care for him.
This is like a Felix who, like, I don't know, belongs on a 70s sitcom or something.
Yeah,
or a 70s cop show.
Well, I feel like this is offensive to Americans and our accents, which is everyone sounds lovely and sounds super cool in 60s and sort of this nice, like, English film way of, speaking. And our Felix is very, well, Bond, did you do this? And it's like a very hard American, I mean, my accent
Yeah.
isn't great, but I was like, I don't think this isn't, you sound so uncool.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but in the book, Felix Leiter has a very deep Texan accent.
That would be, let's give us some character.
Right?
Yeah, let's make a Southern. Let's just go full stereotype and just make a
Just
Southern,
do it. Why
New
not?
Yorker, you're either a New Yorker or you're super Southern.
Hey, oh, Bond. Hey, Goldfinger, shut up over here.
And you don't mess with Felix, then you don't mess with, or you make him Jeffrey Wright, and we don't, the case is closed.
That's true. He was awesome, Jeffrey Wright.
Mm.
But so he comes up and he goes, okay, Dink, get out of here. And she goes, but we were doing something. And he goes, not now, man talk. And he spins her around and pats her on the ass to get her going.
Sure does. And I think this is why the last few movies I was like, he's great in this. He seems like so like not respectful, but I was like, he's not bad in these two, because it's this movie that it's like, oh, pretty,
it's like his problem. Look, we're
problematic.
What happens between him and Pussy Galore is incredibly unsettling to me.
And you know what? It wasn't cool back in like 2002 when I first watched it. I was like, she's pushing hard.
Yeah.
And don't watch Marnie, everybody. If you really want to get the full like aggressive Sean Connery, Marnie is like all bad. It's all problematic. And this,
you realize, Ginny,
you realize that when you're 13 and 12-year-old back in like years ago,
Well, you're very smart. You were a smart 12, 13-year-old. But I'm going to tell you something.
To this day,
I'm going to rewatch Marnie because of you, because you've brought it up on every one of these episodes, and I'm like, I think that's due for a rewatch.
Oh gosh, give it a go. I mean, and tell me what, I'm sure that book is very interesting. And I was like, we all had a crush on Sean Connery when we were 13 years old. So you want to watch every Sean Connery movie.
I had a crush on Sean Connery when I was 13 years old, and I'm straight. I was like, oh yeah, Medicine Man. Oh, I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember,
Love it. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to watch I can't wait to watch a bunch of Sean Connery movies with my husband. I can't wait. It's going to marathon. I can't wait, guys.
Sean Connery and Christopher Walken are the two people that started me doing bad impressions. Because as a kid, I was obsessed with their voice.
And you got to start somewhere. Yeah.
You got to.
You need to unique people.
So Leiter goes, and this is the first point where, and it's different in the book, but the first point where I go, Bond is an incredibly shitty spy who just is really lucky. Because Leiter goes, no, in this movie anyway, because Leiter goes, you see that guy over there, Goldfinger, we've been tailing him. There's something going on. We're doing this silently, you see. He doesn't know we're here. This is a big, M says you're going to help us out. Can you silently tail him? And what does our friend James Bond do? He goes right up to the guy's room.
Yes.
He pretty much like is misogynist to a maid to force her to let him in. And then like goes, hey, Goldfinger, this is James Bond 007. And he's not that bad, but he starts talking to him and like telling him to lose. And then he has sex with his accomplice.
Well, it's like the hubris though, almost, because he is very cocky when he does it. And even the girl is like, well, of course, because he's so like, man, he's and she's probably unhappy with her life. And this guy is like super like sticks it to him, this is all like a bad decisions. But he is so like pleased with himself, and
he's so pleased,
and that's such a mistake, He
looks like the cat that ate the canary, that
yeah.
phrase. That's what he looks like.
Oh my gosh.
But like I don't know. Maybe if someone tells you as a spy, hey, we're gonna silently watch this guy, you don't immediately make your presence known.
Nope, you should not. And man, what? He's just feeling good after a massage.
That's what it is. He's like, hey, I just had this massage. I'm gonna have sex with Dink later. Felix is here, who I'm really in love with. We're gonna get dinner tonight. By the way, I ship Bond and Felix hard in the books because the way they're written in the books, their friendship, it's like one of those Victorian 1950s, like, we're good friends. See, dames could never get us. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have dinner. We're going to screw around. What? No, dames. No, we love women. We all like to have sex with women, but this is a no woman night. Like,
this is a one woman night. And they were roommates. Oh my gosh. They were roommates. Yeah.
So
they were roommates now.
I ship it completely.
I ship it.
But, yeah. And like, continuity wise in the books, Leiter is like is an amputee. Like in the
Oh
second
yeah.
book, he's eaten like the
Well,
eaten
yeah.
up by a shark. Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
And so like he's not even the CIA anymore. He's like a Pinkerton with like a hook for a hand.
Man.
And the way he gets involved in this is because Bond gets in a bit too deep, like he does in this movie, and squirrels a message to Felix. So he, again, that's why I ship these two. He's like, only Felix Leiter can help me. Not M, not my government. My boyfriend needs to be here.
Because you need your Scooby gang. You need, if a Buffy term, you need like people who aren't, a part of the establishment. You need the friends, like a good buddy.
It's true. It's true. But so in the book, it's a bit different. In the book, he's actually asked by like someone actually that was a side character in Casino Royale and like saw how good he was at cards, and he was like, it's kind of how he was introduced to Drax in the novel Moonraker. And the guy's like, hey, I know you're good at cards. If I pay you some money, can you come up and just see if I'm being cheated? And so, like, that's why in the book, Bond does exactly all that.
What he does, interesting.
Yeah, because his job is to like stop this guy from cheating and get this other guy his money back, not to surveil this guy. Jill actually, it's very nice because Jill goes away with him for the weekend after that, and then you don't find out till halfway through the novel about the painted gold thing. Because Goldfinger just tells him, well, she left my employ when she got back from her vacation. And when Bond finds out that Jill is dead, he actually has a moment of, this wasn't a mission. Like, I got this woman killed. This wasn't on a mission. And yeah.
Well, now we all make this joke that Quantum of Solace is a bad movie. I think he has that reaction in Quantum of Solace when he gets the field agent killed. Like, because she's with him and she's painted, where she gets like drenched in oil. But I go, because I that was my thought. I was like, there's that. I mean, he's obviously like shaken up in the movie when he finds her, and then there's like repercussions later with her sister. But yeah, I think that carried over a little bit. We just made that a little bit more human in Quantum of Solace. That's this situation.
I'm a Quantum of Solace defender.
Apologist. I am. So
enjoy that movie.
Like, I'll make these claims.
I still say I don't think it's in the bottom 5 Bond movies ever made. I mean, and we're pretty far into the series.
We are. We sure are. But I also, maybe that's interesting that Goldfinger isn't very, maybe he comes off like approachable, like not very, I don't know, unattainable, but he's not like scary looking. He looks like and he's playing like he's at a hotel in Miami, like playing an open game of cards. Like he's not
right.
He's a little everyman-esque.
Sure, and he's playing up into it. He's got the pretend hearing aid, and he has that. There's that great moment. This guy who played Goldfinger, I want to go and watch a bunch of movies this guy was in because he's so good in this, and I've only know him in this. But when he asks about like, well, how much you want to play for the points, and the guy goes, let's double it, and he just very nonchalantly, and he can hear, he's faking it. He just goes, puts his hearing in. I was like, I'm sorry, did you say double it? Like there are these little character moments that he does that like in character the character Goldfinger is acting at this point. And I love that. The layers on that. So what did you think, Jenny? What did you think of this Bond? Like
again, well, besides some, I mean, clearly, butt smacking, I say now, is his like trademark. It's the hat. It's
the hat, the gun, the smack in the butt.
The gun, the smack in the butt. But he's like got a lot of one-liners too. A lot of flirting. I mean, they'll come to me because I had a lot of notes about there's also some funny stuff with him and the guard. Remember, which is weird, when he's in the jail cell, sort of towards a little at the end of the middle
when they're in Kentucky.
Yeah. Okay. And he gets the guard just to come to the door, open up with a gun, but he like was just kind of waving at him, winks at him,
Yeah.
I was like, are you flirting with the guy? Are you trying to make him laugh? I thought he was gonna crack a smile. I didn't remember the scene at all. And he just like sinks down, and the guy was like,
that
Where'd he go? And opens the door and and then he gets into a fight. But I was like, he is so funny.
Yeah, no,
And
he is very funny in this movie, and it's not like ha ha ha, but it's like just the subtle things he
yeah,
does.
he's very and he's very, very smooth. Because even again, there's just uh, he's a little I don't know. It's very smooth and there's a lot of it. And I'm wondering, is this book heavy? Because there's a lot of women in this that he's like romancing, and I am not immune to his charms, as bad as it is, because I love Sean Connery. But is it like that, or he's just coming in strong? Is this a book accurate Bond?
So yes and no. So like yes, he's not as like he's not sleeping with everyone. Like
Hmm.
his main tryst is with Jill Masterson. Uh in the book, it's like what's her face? I keep saying a lot of vagina. Pussy Galore. Uh Pussy Galore is not just like in this she's coded as a lesbian. She is a lesbian in the book.
Awesome.
Uh and well, yeah, until Bond goes on his internal tirade about his thoughts on homosexuality
Oh,
at the end of the book. Yeah,
jeez.
which I'll talk about. It's really problematic. But so she's not like a special Goldfinger pilot. Like she's just one of the
Oh.
criminals. She runs her own like lesbian all women gang in that circle of criminals.
Okay, we'd love to see it.
I would love to
That's
see that.
interesting that she's not with him though. Oh, not with
Well,
Goldfinger.
yeah, no, she's not. She winds up like working with him after the end, and it has the same weird ending that this does, where like Goldfinger kind of shows up after the caper's been done and gets Bond, and then Pussy Galore helps him. It's not really clear why she does it in the book, and she still sleeps with him because his theory on Pussy Galore and all pansies, quote unquote, and he doesn't mean just gay men. He means gay women. He's all pansies of every kind. He says something like that. Is
Jeez.
they just haven't met the right man or woman, and society is allowing them to just not have the gender roles. Like it's bad. It's yeah.
Whoa.
It's everything you think a 50, 60-year-old in the 1950s who served
Oh
in a British Naval
my
Academy thinks.
lord. Oh my gosh. I
Um,
kind of want to read it just to get like a hold on what Ian Fleming is trying to say.
I mean, yeah, I'll see if I can find where it is in the book. I'll go back because I
Oh,
was listening to the
jeepers.
audio. And there is nothing between him and the sister.
Oh, but
Because
yeah, it's a very like yeah, but that's I kind of wanted
well,
there to be.
I actually did too. The reason in the book it's not, it's implied that she's a lesbian.
Her too?
Like Goldfinger says something to him like, well, you guys are going to be working, and if you're so inclined, you can, bed together, but I don't think she'll be inclined. And then
This
throughout, because she spends a lot of time in the Goldfinger complex, like her and Bond are like
all right.
forced to work for him.
Okay. Okay. Like
Uh,
a pair for a bit. That's
right,
cool.
but she's pissed off at Bond, and she gets super close with Pussy Galore. And I thought in the book was going to end, the twist was Pussy helps Bond because she's pissed that Goldfinger killed
Sh-
uh,
her
Masterson, her
yeah,
whatever
her
they,
Jill's
yeah.
sister, yeah.
But it's
Oh,
not. It's
yes, Tilly.
it's just that Bond has a gold dick, and the female can say no because that's like that's
It's a
kind of how it ends. Like it was really like it went from being a book I was enjoying to like, yeah, I wish I didn't know that.
it is like if you the thing is if you could just if like it's almost like if you could just remake like if you had the Casino Royale in 2006, like if you had
Right.
Goldfinger never got made in the 60s and we did it in 2000 and like 2015. um I think you would have gone there because that's
I think so.
the silly thing is that I mean it's like Ian Fleming clearly has his viewpoint and then like and put these ideas in and especially with this with the women and just like and they're very strong women and they have agency at least from this movie a little bit, and then and like he sets it up to be super cool,
Right?
super amazing, and it's like, oh, he's like, oh no, I didn't intend for that. I didn't.
Right.
We're not doing that. But he set it up to be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Oh my gosh.
you're right. We would have gained that kind of cool look in Goldfinger if it was made today, but we would have lost Goldfinger himself. Like they would have hired like a Mads Mikkelsen or someone who's like, Hollywood ugly or Hollywood plain, because they're all hot.
A
But
Philip
he's
Seymour
just
Hoffman.
right.
He's not. Yeah.
He's a normal looking guy. It's like it would have been something like that. I don't think so. Yeah, I think you got to take the good, you got to take the bad. You got to take them both because there you have the facts of life.
Oh my gosh, but Bond, I love him. I also wrote back hair. I forgot he has back hair.
Oh,
Remember when people had back hair?
Right? When you were allowed to have hair?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I was like,
I have to say, Ginny, and I'm a straight man watching this. I'm like, this is the sexiest Sean Connery has ever been.
it sure is.
Like it's the 3-piece suit with the vest. And Ginny, I wish I could dress like if it was socially acceptable, I would dress like that all the time. It used to be, it's not anymore.
You should play golf. Everyone should play golf with a fedora and like
Right?
an awesome vest, and not the little like whatever Goldfinger's wearing. Everyone should be just being super chill,
right?
And also remember how like because wasn't Sean Connery a bald man?
Yes,
he was wearing wigs. I always forget that.
I didn't even know that until I got older.
Yeah.
And actually, when I started losing my hair, I was like, oh, I don't feel so bad.
Oh my gosh. And I meet a few, you come across your, later and, meet older people who like wear pieces. And I go,
right.
I forget. I'm like, awesome choice. Good for you. Like,
right.
do it.
Like, who cares?
Women wear wigs all the time. We wear hair pieces, man, but I love that he did that.
Yeah, no, me too, and it looks good. Like I don't question these things anyway. It's a movie, but I've never like questioned his hairpiece. Like you tell me that's his real hair, that's his real hair.
I know it is, and always is.
But he's so good, and he's so suave, so smooth. He's so nonplussed, and everything he does, there's like this little smirk on his face. And I'm just even the bad stuff I don't like. I'm kind of here,
I think it's like, Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan can be similar, and Daniel Craig maybe comes a bit closer to Sean Connery, but no one tries to be Sean Connery because you genuinely can't. It's not even like you could be posh and British like Roger Moore and smooth and shit, and flirty, whatever you want to do, or angry. And no, you just can't be Sean Connery. You can't be like cocky and like just and seamless and like, I don't know, and focused, because he's got that some awesome focus energy where he's like, when Tilly's like, oh, she gives him a fake name and he's like, yeah, okay. You're like lying to me, but he's a little angry about it.
Yeah. And actually, that's a cool scene. I'm glad you brought that scene up, because that's another like that's further proof that not only is this a movie at Bond overcoming the fact that he's a shitty spy, he's aware of it, right? Because he sees Tilly Masterson as he's tracing Goldfinger, and this is before she fires the gun at him, right? I want to be clear, because if it happened after, I would understand it. But he clocks her on the road as a hot chick, and he's like, discipline 007, discipline. Like, what are you going to do, man?
You don't have the time. You don't have time.
You're hunting that you're going after Goldfinger.
Oh gosh. It's so, but yeah, because maybe he's just getting a little frustrated with himself. Just
and then like then he gets lucky, right? He saves his own life because he just happened to have overheard the name Operation Grand Slam. Had it not been for that, Goldfinger would have won.
Yeah, because he can't bluff or
well, he's got nothing. Can we talk about the scene in the between Goldfinger and him with the laser, which is my favorite scene in this movie.
Iconic.
Like, just Goldfinger being so dismissive. Like these are two great actors, like acting off each other. It's electric every time they're together on screen. And there's just the way the guy who plays Goldfinger plays it, where, Bond is like, well, if you kill me, they'll send 008. And he just goes, well, I hope he has better luck than you then.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, he's like Bond if Bond were like a villain. Like, he's the anti-Bond. You know what I mean? without being
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
006 or someone who worked. Like, he's just their skill. Like, he's smarter than Bond. He's better than Bond in
He doesn't have
this.
anxiety. He has zero anxiety. He doesn't have to kill like a henchman off the it or it's you know, it's like it's nothing to him, right? He's very much like I'm vacationing, I'm golfing,
Right.
I'm by the poolside and we're
Right.
having a good time. It's that
Oh, I love it so
laissez-faire
much.
attitude. It's crazy.
It's and like in everything he does, it's great. Like, up until the end, and I love. He's got so many great lines just in that. He has that line I just said. Then he asked Bond a question. I don't even remember what he says, and he goes, "Choose your next witticism carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last." Like,
Yeah.
what a great line.
Cliches now, but at the time, just Succession, just scary and terrifying and like, yeah.
That's that, and that's a great point. Like, if we saw this now, we'd be like, yeah, we've seen it. It's been done. It's Goldfinger. But like, and I think this is why I give the Sean Connery movies from the Bond a bit of a pass, because it's like the 60s. Like, the 60s was a terrible time. There's no getting around it. It was terrible unless you were a straight white man. And that's just a fact, right? So like, I this is the culture that birthed it. So like, I can't like beat it over the head. They're kind of more big societal problems we should be focusing on, and but so I guess that's why, like, but I think had you done this today, it would have been like, yeah, this is problematic, or this is cliche or whatever, because it's happening in the 60s and it's creating a lot of this stuff. It's like, no, this, when I watch it, I can kind of feel like, oh no, I could feel the freshness of it from when it was written, when it was
Yeah, I know, and it's also played not cheesy. Like, if you have a stupid like cartoon image in your head of like, I expect you to die. It's like, no, that's not. He doesn't say
Right.
it like that. It's very careless, and his
Right.
that
And
actor isn't playing it like big.
That's a great point too, because in my head, right? Because when I was a kid, they were selling the VHS James Bond series. You can own it now for 3 easy installments of $77.77. And the big thing that they would always show is, "Do you expect me to talk?" And as a kid, I always heard it as, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." And I had jokes with friends about that. But it's not. It's just like, "Do you expect me to talk?" "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die."
And like, "Goodbye,
just,
I don't need you anymore."
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because he doesn't mean anything to him.
No, and Bond is like, it's clear Bond is like looking for relevance to keep himself around. You know what I mean? And he just sees right through it.
Oh, I love that desperation too, of just like, gosh, what do I have? What do I have? Like, okay. And oh man, did I watch anything recently where that just happened? I just do love a good bluff. I love a good bluff.
And again, the filmmaking in this, right? Because we were talking about this in From Russia with Love, right? Like, it's close up on the laser going up the ripping through the metal, right? Close up on James Bond, and he's shifting, he's sweaty, and you can see he's scared. Close up of Goldfinger not giving two fucks or any of this. Close up back in Bond, and it just sets up this great tension where it's like, I know he's not going to be ripped apart, but it's like still tense. I'm still nervous watching.
Very, very suspenseful. There's so many good action sequences, and I count that as an action sequence. I think I saw in a comment, everyone loves the golf scene. I didn't care for the golf scene.
Really? Oh, I love the golf scene.
It's like, I'm like, obviously it's important, but I was just like, really?
I'll tell you why I love the golf scene. It's because it really feels like this is the most aggro Bond gets. Like, this is big dick energy. Like, when Goldfinger's setting up his shot, and he's like, "So what do you want to bet?" And he's just like, he just drops this brick of Nazi gold on the floor. Oh, yeah. It's almost like it's like a like, yeah, there you go. I got the bigger penis, Goldfinger.
A great point. See, this is what you teach in a film class. This is the comparison you make.
That's right.
You go, now, class, why when he drops the gold, what image are we seeing here?
Well, I think it's a commentary on
what is this invoking
and communism.
For you?
No, guys. What it's invoking is penis, right? Come on.
That's literally all you say. That's all. Every theater class. That's every theater class.
Dude, well, from now on, anytime I teach a movie, what does this mean, guys? How does it mean penis?
Phallic symbol, phallic symbol.
But I also do like, and I did like the scene in the book too, because in the book they're really fucking with each other, like,
Cool.
by the rules, golf, like, because that's how he gets him at the end. Is in the book, Goldfinger makes a whole production about we're gonna play by golf standard rules or whatever,
Interesting.
and it's very clear like that Goldfinger is cheating in the book, like, and it's the caddy that catches it, not Bond. And then the caddy switches the Schlesinger one for the Schlesinger 7.
Yeah. See, I also need to be better at golf. My family plays golf. I don't know any golf rules. I don't
know. I used to play golf in my 20s, and by play golf, I mean I'd go away to golf resorts with friends who, were richer than me, so they had these things that they could do, and then I'd get really drunk and like drive the golf carts while they played, because I have no long game. I used to have an okay short game, but I can't drive to save my soul.
See, I don't know what that means. I would like to just look nice and have a cocktail and walk a hill and get some walking in.
That's what it's about. That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's upper crust. That's high society.
That is high society.
I have a note that just said, "Oh man, I am not a golfer." That's my one note. I was like, "Gosh!" But then I commented on the sweater and the fedora. I said, "I know the scene is great, but I'm like, man, I don't like. I'm not feeling it." Yeah, but the car scene with Tilly was intense.
That was intense. I like the use of the Q branch car, which I love. This is the first time we get the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And it's pretty.
I remember about that on the
No, I don't. I think he says
have one. Yeah, we're not doing cars in the last two movies.
No, and I think he said something like a Bentley or something. Like he was expecting a different kind of car.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We love Aston Martins now.
Oh, they're awesome, but they were awesome then too. And by the way, that car inspired a video game, an 80s Nintendo game and arcade game called Spy Hunter, and I will die on that hill, because Spy Hunter is just literally, you look like Michael Knight from Knight Rider,
yeah,
and you're driving a car that has missiles, machine guns, oil slicks, smoke screens. Like all you need is but it's an overview thing. So you're driving the car like this,
right?
That's why they and other cars come at you with like the spinny things that Bond uses to get Tilly Masterson pulled over.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, very 80s.
It is very 80s. Yeah. 100%. And he uses this car, right? I mean, he uses that in the Tilly Masterson.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Chase,
that was my favorite. I think it's my favorite use of the gas. Just the there two with the car, but the gas, right? With the kind of knocks the guys out, the henchmen that are following, good. and then Chekhov's ejector.
Yeah, Chekhov's ejector seat.
Because I was like, because that's a big thing. Because Q looks like a baby. He's so like flushed and Irish and like so like dorky. And he's like, and this is the ejector. Bond's like, ejector, like really? And he's like, this is my life's work. I need you to appreciate.
Yes.
Please don't say that.
This is establishing Q too. Like we talked about how Q kind of like looked up to Bond last time. Now that shit's gone. He's like, pay attention, 007. Like we get like old man energy Q in this baby face.
I love him. Oh, you know it. He's not going to the pubs. He just goes home and has tea.
He says to Bond, like, are we almost done here? And he's like, well, if you pay attention, then I'll have you out of here in an hour or two. And the look on Bond's face, like, oh Jesus Christ.
Oh no. I just love it, but the ejector, because that's classic. That's like almost like again maybe a trope, but also because Bond like kind of is like in the heat of the moment, pushes it because he's got a henchman in the car, and henchman is kind of like what the and it's like very dramatic. It's a little bit dramatic scene, and he just kind of shoots up and goes out. He just clears the car and then falls out. He doesn't go like all the way into space. He just goes boop boop.
He's fine. That's literally maybe a broken bone. You're fine. You can walk that off.
You landed on your shoulder. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. But yeah, no, I do love that. That is hysterical. And then I also love it. Again, he does all of that, and then proceeds to get caught right away.
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, a lot of screw ups. So
It's embarrassing. It's like
he's just messy. He just didn't expect. I mean, this is a messy mission. I mean, will say this movie is going to be amazing. We'll I think it's agreed.
yeah, oh for
Spoilers.
sure.
This is a cleared mission, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is the mission a go? He saved the day, but like
I
it was a
mean,
little sloppy.
at the end, he saved the day. That could have been much worse than it was. And I guess let's save Goldfinger and the plan, because I which would you rather talk about? Would you rather talk about the henchmen or the Bond girls?
Well, because you can talk about the henchmen and the Bond girls without talking about the plot, because it is like a awesome plot. It just
Okay,
is, and
all
the
right.
villain.
So then let's do Goldfinger, and then we'll that way you can entry point into those two. So the plan, and I'm sorry, I have to explain the plan, because this right here, if I were a Bond villain, I would be one of two Bond villains. And if in the Bond world I would be a villain. Like I'm not even pretending to say I would be a good guy. I would be either the guy from The Spy Who Loved Me, who is convinced he's saving the world by annihilating 90% of it.
Right.
Or I would be Goldfinger, where my plan is so goddamn crazy it just has to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense when they say it, when they break it down, and I go, because sometimes I say I don't understand the villain's plots, like not like in hindsight, but when they piece it together, like who he's teamed up with, and that makes sense in terms of who his his team is, and then and what he loves, and what who he's kind of like the villain, other evil villains of the world he's working with. Yeah, the plan. Yeah, it's gonna work.
It's a great plan, and I love that. So in the book, his plan is literally to steal the gold. Like that's his plan. Like he poisons the water. It's not an air thing.
Oh, okay. He doesn't knock out Fort Knox.
He does the whole town with water, but he does it by poisoning their water supply. And actually, it's lethal. He just doesn't care. So it's the same deal, except it's water instead of air. So his plan is to use the gangsters that he kills in the movie and Pussy Galore to help him breach the defenses. Then he's going to give them all $1 billion in gold while he takes the rest on a train. Which I don't think that would actually work for the reasons spelled out in this movie. That that would take you hours of movement. You don't have that time. Yeah. But I love the reveal. And it is this is the moment when you realize just how crazy Goldfinger is and ambitious, where Bond points that out. It's like, well, you can't, you won't get anywhere with it. They'll be there and make you put it back. And he's like, oh, Mr. Bond, you thought I was a thief. No, I'm a terrorist. Like,
yes.
That's the reveal of this character. He's like, I'm not going to steal anything. I'm going to use a nuclear warhead, a dirty bomb, to irradiate all Americans' golds for 57 years.
Yes, there's a specific time. And he also goes, he doesn't go like, oh, it's a big, he doesn't think of it like that. He's like, it's a tiny weapon. What's he call it? He's like, it's a baby weapon. Or he's like, oh, it's a tiny little like warhead. I don't, right. It's like a toy almost, or something. Yeah, it's like very nothing. It means nothing. And I was like, oh my gosh. And again, maybe more of a Bond thing. And this line always stuck with me, because I just love when Bond gets serious and he's not just being a charming jerk. This is when Pussy Galore is walking with him, and he just kind of, she's working for him in this movie, at least. And he just kind of, they're having a little not casual conversation, strolling around the barn, and he just turns to her and he's like, she's mentions Goldfinger, and he just goes, yeah, he's quite mad, Yeah. It's his, she's being casual, and he just goes, he's quite mad, that, right? Yeah. And then her face is kind of oh no. And then, yeah. She switches sides.
And the bad stuff happens.
And the bad stuff happens. Yeah. And then, but I love that line. I was like, I love that delivery. And that just is he knows how crazy this man is.
Yeah. And I actually clocked that too. I love that delivery when he's like, this will all end tomorrow. He's
yes.
Quite mad,
Yes.
Exactly. He's laying it on. That's what I kind of wish. And I get it. It's the 60s and they wanted James Bond to be aggro. And I know it was I'm acknowledging that I know it was a trope in
Mm-hmm.
movies like this where like no yes
Gone
yes
with the Wind. It's very Gone with
right
the Wind. Yeah.
right, and it's like so it's not a trope I've ever been comfortable with, but I'm not saying like they meant to imply he raped her, because I think
No.
the implication is that like he just fucks her straight. I think that
Yes.
like in the
Yes.
book,
Yeah, because
which
it's the or they fight. It's a full fight scene, and then she like is fists like she's not saying no, but she is pushing back. She's pushing back so hard that when you're
right, it's
clearly we're all like this is not
yeah
good. And then she is like kissing and then sweeping like oh I embrace she clenches him, and that is the
right
if it was a book trope you're still like
right
not cool, not the way it
it's
initiated was cool, but
yeah
it is now, and that's
but yeah
still not cool, but
it's not.
that's had the 60s way of
Right, and that's
with
the thing is I want to be clear. I'm not no, we're not here to go. Oh, this isn't conform to our 2020 morality. Like, of course it doesn't. So we're acknowledging it's problematic, but also acknowledging that I don't think the intention the intention's bad. I want to be very clear. By the way, fucking someone straight is a terrible intention.
men were the writers of this,
Right,
and women can be
exactly.
too, but I go like clearly like a man was like and she gives in, of course she does, and
Right,
that's like a
right.
60s thing to
But
say.
this was written in a misogynistic time, so of course it's going to be tainted with misogyny and the
Mhm.
such. But I wish there was more of him breaking her down with debate.
Yeah, because he likes her fire, he likes that she's like a full-on equal to him. This is the first
Right.
Bond girl that is like, and we'll talk about Bond girls, even though we were talking about Goldfinger. This
Jump
actress
around.
was 38 years old at the time of filming, 39 when the movie comes out. And I go, because I was like, oh, I did some math wrong. Like she must have been in her like 30 or like 29, because that's just a typical Bond girl age. She's like one of the oldest Bond girls, like at the time. She's older than Bond.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even realize that.
That's amazing. So because he's 35. And she's and like she looks great. She's like, but she's like so much older than him. And I was like, Monica Bellucci was I know one of the older Bond girls recently, but I go, yeah, what a cool thing to say about this movie, that this actress must have been and wouldn't get this kind of role in the 60s. I don't know. Didn't exist.
Well, she was famous in London, in England. She was on the show The Avengers.
I don't remember
She
that.
left to do this and was replaced by Emma Peel, Diana Rigg.
Wow. Wow.
So she had that cachet, but I think you're right though. Even with that, they would have given her a different part. They don't like our in Hollywood. We don't like our women to get old, and if they do, they still have to look young, and that's not good enough
Yeah.
because we'll still treat them like they're old. But in order for them to even have a seat at the table, they have to look young.
I know. So I don't know. I just kind of, especially for when the other two Bond girls are in their 20s,
Right.
which is fine. It just was like, yeah, what a cool thing and she's like such a doing judo, and
she's awesome in this.
Man,
And
I loved her.
I've never only on this watch. I've never found her very sexy, but on this watch, I'm like, I get it. I never got it before. I completely get it. Like this, the way she carries herself. Her confidence, like talk about big dick energy. She's pulling that off herself.
Biggest of them all, and she's got the raspy. This her voice sounds like sounds like the Goldfinger song. It sounds like Shirley Bassey speaking. It sounds like a speaking voice version of that. And I was like, wow, gorgeous.
I never thought about that. I wonder if like Goldfinger is through Pussy Galore's eyes.
Maybe it's like her angry post Goldfinger service days. She is pretty awesome, and she's a pilot. That's the thing. They're like, because he says it to our first Bond girl, Jill, that she's like, what do you work for him? And she's like, yeah, I listen, and I'm also paid to be seen with him. And he's like, only that, and she's like, yeah, only that. And he's like, good. And then I think he says it to Pussy Galore later too. He's like, and you're only his pilot? You're only? And she's like, yeah, I'm a good, but I don't have to tell you that. I'm a really good pilot.
You just reminded me of a great scene between them two, Pussy and Bond, where he's feeling her out. It's like in the plane, and it was right after they have that great exchange where she pulls the gun, and like he's just like, well, I don't know how much you know about Smith and Wesson, but that would tear through me and tear out the
Yes.
fuselage. We'd all
Yes.
die. Personally, I don't know how you want to get there, but I'll take the easy way. And he sits down, starts sipping his martini. Great moment, right? And then, like very shortly after, they're talking, and then he goes, "Show Operation Grand Slam," and then he looks at her, and because he's trying to feel her, and she doesn't even respond. And I love that because in you don't realize she knows what Grand Slam is. She's 100% a part of it. And like and she does not even have the slightest reaction, and he's kind of like got egg on his face, and I love that moment.
He knows it because he's always like trying to get a reaction out of her, and he's always like, gosh, or he's like, hey, and she's cold, and she's like icy, and I think he loves, like, he's clearly portraying that. I just wish we had started that earlier and cut the Tilly Masterson stuff out. And that's, I never remember her. She's beautiful and she's cool and British, but yeah, I was like, and I know she's avenging her sister. I would avenge my sister as well, but yeah, we don't need her. Cut her out and then put Pussy Galore in earlier so they can banter more till the end and we have more development.
I agree with that. Like, I mean, they did it because it's, they were trying to follow the book, but like they cut so much of Tilly out. Like, Tilly in the book, again, does not get killed like that. Like, she survives, and like she's her and Goldfinger pretty much decides to leave him alive because it's the man with the golden gun syndrome. Shit, I don't have any secretaries, and I got people coming over. All right, you guys are gonna be my secretaries, and then I swear I'll let you go. No fingers crossed,
No. Literally though, and it's so, but I was like, well, why? And she's gone so soon because, like, surely she cannot live, because I didn't remember her in the movie.
She has almost no impact in the movie, and I think you're right. Either cut her out completely and give us more Honor Blackman and Pussy Galore, or flesh out and make her a character.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like what like Jill doesn't need to be a character. Jill is what she needs to be. You understand the rules and the price to fuck with Goldfinger at that. Yeah. Like, you don't. That's everything you need to know. That's her purpose. But Tilly doesn't have a purpose.
No, and I mean, I don't know about the book, but it was like also seemed like she was a little bit like a little. It was all for naught in the book.
No, yeah, she gets killed by Oddjob, like close to the end of the book, like right before Project Operation Grand Slam's going down.
That stinks. But yeah, I was like, and I knew it was coming, and I was just like waiting for it. And Bond kind of, when she's there, he's like, "Don't, like, damn," and then gets taken away.
Yeah. Oh god, but yeah, but I'm 100% agree. I think this movie needs more Pussy Galore. And by the way, I want to point out, let me drop my banner here so you can see the name I chose today. I really how in the 1960s, the repressive 1960s, did we get away with calling a woman who's coded lesbian? But that's not even the issue because they don't care about that. But how did we get a woman named Pussy Galore? It's like I wrote a story about Cock Prickington.
And what's it short for? Kitty, I get. And then maybe he throws a pun out that is like, here, or like, calm down, like, pussy. But he doesn't say that. Is there her nickname? I'm sure they gave her a backstory that was like, as my nickname in college was.
Nope, her name is Pussy Galore. That is her Christian given name.
No, it's not
on the birth certificate. They never, in the book, they never mention a nom de plume. They never mention anything like that. She is just Pussy Galore, and they are pussy, 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 pussy all over the place.
That. Do you think he had too many martinis, Ian Fleming, and was like, oh man, it's all in there now?
Here's my opinion of this book: is I think, and I'll let you know. Well, I've explored some of the later books, so maybe, but
because even the plastic surgery thing with baby girl with
Honey Ryder.
Honey Ryder. and that name, but it just all kind of seemed like, I don't know, at least agency agenda, she had some
Yeah,
issues
something.
happen to her. Why in this book?
And I think at this point we've gotten like he's written a bunch of these books. Now they're starting to be movies. They're starting to be big, and I think the movies, which we've talked about in the show, tonally different they could be than the source material. I think he starts to align the source material with the functionality of the movies, because that like I've talked about problematic things in those books, but I've always been like, yeah, but you know what? When I look at this and I look at the time, like you can almost say that I don't think he's any worse than other people at the time. But in this one, when he's sounding off about the homosexuals, I'm like, I don't, yeah, I can't defend that.
No. That must be just like his own just views, and you just want to throw that in there.
Right. And it doesn't need to be in the book. Like I don't need political statements about sexuality in my Bond movies or books. I just don't. And there was it didn't add anything to it. It didn't matter. Like it would have been different if it was a plot point, and I could have said, well, I didn't really like that view, but the fact that it somehow saved the day at the end, at least. But like it's just there, and it feels so out of place, and that's what I think. I think like he kind of must have been sort of become intoxicated with the success of the movies.
But that was like, again, I mean, like at least that part's not really. I mean, it's coded a little bit in the movie that she has female pilots, and that she also says like, "You're not my type. You're not." Gosh, what did she say? And I think I knew that too. That was always sort of. That was like lore from the movies that she is,
I've always seen her as a coded lesbian, and I'll tell you something. It's less than I remember it, or maybe it was just more prevalent in the book. So it's a different watch. But even as a kid, I was like, Pussy Galore. That's the gay one, the gay because I didn't have fancy words like lesbian when I was
that's when 10. Didn't exist back then.
Come on, it was the 80s. I was lucky it wasn't a slur, but like realistically, I always thought of her as like the gay Bond girl. So it's just strange to me on this rewatch that it's not as there as I thought it was.
Who does that? Do you ever see the movie The Phantom? With Billy Zane from the 90s? You've never seen it?
I will have to eventually, because I will make Eddie do it on Crannies.
I'll hop on because it used to be on HBO all the time, and I was always watching it. Christy Swanson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, 95 Catherine Zeta-Jones, and she's a pilot, a female pilot, and she says Billy Zane looking like Sean Connery, just in like a blue Phantom. He looks like Sean Connery in this movie, like a young Sean Connery, and her character is this glamorous pilot from like the 1920s, and she's like a female pilot, and he's like, oh, they're all pilots, and she's like, yeah, all my pilots are females, and in this big like, it's pretty cool. It's a throwback. And then what happens later in Catherine Zeta-Jones' life? She best friends with Sean Connery and does a movie with Sean Connery.
That's right. Oh yeah, they were close friends, right?
They were good buddies. They definitely, they hung out.
Yeah, I to be a fly on the wall at whatever the hell hangout they're in,
My favorite. I listened to a podcast where because he presented her Oscar when she won. He just he was just the presenter, and when
he wasn't even asked to be, he actually just punched the guy in the face. Took it and said, "I said if she would win, I would present this Oscar."
And he was like, "But it wasn't her name," and he was like, "It's Catherine Zeta-Jones."
Oh my god.
That's my canon now.
He didn't even open it, right? They gave him the envelope, and he went, and the winner is Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Come up here, Kathy. And they embrace on stage. That's literally what happened. I haven't seen it in years, but I know that's what happened.
Oh, it's what? That's canon now.
But yeah, I was like, I do love Jan. She looks great. I think I really appreciate her in this movie. Honor Blackman. Honor Blackman. What a Bond girl name.
Right, awesome. And that's her real name.
That's her real name.
Well, I mean, I mean, maybe that was a
stage name.
Yeah. And you know what? You know why I think I didn't appreciate her as a kid, and I think this is me, right? I feel that if you can't like two similar things, I did as a kid. You had to take a stand, right? Beatles or Elvis, choose one, right? And so it was like, so Honor Blackman or Diana Rigg? Well, that's not a choice. It's of course going to be Diana Rigg, but I can also like Honor Blackman.
I think she's a little more athletic looking than, not that we're gonna judge body types. They're both gorgeous women, of course, but I go like Honor Blackman is like, I don't know, again, older than Diana Rigg,
She
and it's
is.
just like a little bit very curvy and just like fierce and like that deeper voice, like a ravelly voice, and I love her. Also, you mentioned the Beatles. Do you remember the line that Bond says in
Oh
this
my
movie?
God.
I
Yes.
gasped. I was like, I'm sorry, what did she say?
I had to remind myself that men of his age, and actually Sean Connery himself, I believe, was not a Beatles fan. Like, and of course, men of his age are not going to be Beatles fans. That's like, newfangled music, these kids and their long hair and they're smoking the
Their
reefer.
TikToks.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, because guys,
I
like,
Oh my gosh, I'm also like,
no,
what
I'm
does he
sorry. Go ahead.
listen to? What's Bond's taste?
Oh, Bond's
What's his
listening.
taste?
He's listening to jazz, like he's listening to standards, some Frank.
Oh
He
yeah.
throws on some Frank albums. He gets a little whiskey drunk.
I love that.
Maybe if he's had a really bad mission, he had to kill a bunch of people he didn't want to, or maybe he's got to process his feelings for Jill Masterson. But feelings don't exist in this time. Men don't fucking have feelings. We beat that shit down.
Oh my
But what he does is
gosh.
he gets super drunk by himself, and he plays some Torch songs like "One for My Baby, One More for the Road," and he weeps into his alcohol. That's what I think. That's how I think he enjoys music.
Oh, that's how he enjoys music. That's how he guests his music.
What he says is like he's like doing that. Oh no, drinking a Dom Perignon
Dom Perignon.
53 above 38 degrees is like listening to the Beatles without like earmuffs. Like, oh, Sean.
Oh, it was great. He was very funny about it. Oh, I love him. No, no, but I mean, again, and Jill was super cute. I think she looks like, I always thought she looked like a Barbie when I was like,
Yeah.
especially when I was even younger. I was like, and she's such a something like in a black bikini, 60s hairdo. A lot of blondes, are all blondes in this movie, except for
Oh
the first
God.
girl. So many blondes.
So many
He
blondes.
loves Sean Connery is all about the blondes. You get a redhead thrown in there eventually, and
oh yeah, I think that's Diamonds Are Forever.
But that's, I don't think there's no blondes in Diamonds in Forever. It's all redheads and baby girl.
Yeah.
Girl from Wrecking Crew. I forget her name. I don't know her Bond girl name either.
I don't remember her name at all. But you know why that is so, Ginny? That's because that's Ian Fleming's commentary on American women. There aren't any posh blondes. They're all trashy, curly-haired redheads.
Dang.
Let me tell you. Now I picture Ian Fleming drunk. Like, let me tell you. We did a redheads the same thing we do with the gays. No, Uncle Ian, stop, Uncle Ian.
Also, he's not British. He's like secretly a rough American. It was all a front.
It's all a front.
Just hanging out in Jamaica on a beach.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was shocked. I forgot that everyone in Pussy Galore's like pilot gang all look like Pussy Galore.
Like clones of her.
Right.
I always thought there was more. This is like later you get in Octopussy, that there's like a big band of women that are like a team of criminals, and I'm like, there wasn't maybe like 5 seconds of women in this movie. It's just like the knowledge that she has the pilots.
Yeah, I think I conflated the parts of Octopussy I like, because I never remember any of that movie. There are a couple of those more movies that are just gone. But I think I conflated the parts of that movie that I like with this, because I really thought that there was more like for these female criminal pilots to do, and it's just not there. So I must be thinking about other installments in the Bond franchise.
I must be thinking about the movie Phantom with Billy Zane. There's a lot of that happening. It's definitely what I'm thinking about.
Before we get too far away from Goldfinger, because we're about to jump into Odd Job, right?
Yeah.
Goldfinger gets, and I texted you about this because I was so excited. He gets a quip, which you don't realize is a quip because it's foreshadowing. But like when he kills all of those like gangsters, and the one gangster wants to leave, and he introduces him to Bond, and he's like, this this guy would love to stay, Mr. Bond, but he has a pressing engagement. And I'm watching it going, wait a minute, he's going to kill that guy by pressing him in his car. Oh shit! And then Bond does comment on it, like to remind the audience. But I think a lot of people like give that to Bond. That's not Bond's quip.
Interesting.
That's Goldfinger's quip.
Yeah. Wow. And that was what a funny scene. I was like cringing at that. I forgot about that. The compression of the car.
Oh my God. They show you the whole thing. It's
I know. We watched all of it. Oh, crazy. Oh.
And before we move on from Goldfinger, because I'm looking at my notes now. It's like the fact that he has that diorama. And he's walking around pointing with this key with the stick, right? I just couldn't help it, but I wanted like a reference to a movie that won't be made for 20 years. I wanted him to go, excuse me for the crudity of my diorama. It was not built to scale. The big Doc Brown line from Back to the Future. But I love this guy's got the diorama and he's setting pieces up like. This guy's no joke.
On hindsight, and it's a very professional plan. It's a very thorough plan. It's a very it all makes sense. And if I were there at the presentation, I would like to see a diorama. I would like to see a presentation of what in action. So thank you.
You call me into a League of Evil Nations meeting, and you want me to use my evil for Operation Grand Slam. You got my interest. If you just throw some PowerPoint slides up, but I'm not respecting that. I can do that. I do that every day for class, right? You show that you built a diorama. Oh, well, you've been at this a while. You've obviously given this a lot of thought. You have my interest now, undivided attention, just because of the presence of the diorama. And I might ask to take something home as a keepsake.
100%. We need that. We need like an event manager planning up these little presentations. That's like a 90 starting rate, $90,000 yearly.
You imagine that? Like, I just picture the interviews now. So imagine, if you will, hypothetically, I'm going to create a plan where I'm going to steal the gold bullion in Fort Knox. How would you pitch that to other criminals? And if you say PowerPoint, I will have you killed.
Right now.
Right now. It's like, diorama. Ooh, I'm listening. Who would make this diorama?
It's a diorama. It'll have animatronics. It'll have triggers. Cars.
There'll be music playing, Mr. Goldfinger.
Please.
Oh, hi. I will pay you $90,000 in gold bullion.
Okay, went well, guys. LinkedIn profile interview went well. Very proud of my future success.
Oh, joining Team Goldfinger. All right, so I guess we need to give some time to possibly the best, or definitely the most. I don't know, but the best. I guess we'll talk about that in the recap because I think there's some stiff competition. But definitely the most iconic, like henchman.
Yeah.
Odd Job.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, his hat is steel rimmed, so he can murder you with it. I mean, as he does. He is a Korean. Is this all in the book or no?
The Korean part's in the book. And they make it actually everyone who works, because the whole Chinese subplot about that's not in the book. The book he's working for Smersh. It's Russian.
There is no Smersh in this.
No, they replaced Smersh with Spectre in the movies.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that's why he works.
One. Or no?
It was Spectre. Yeah, it's been that they had to refigure it because Kleb, remember, she wasn't working for the Russians.
Okay.
So it's like Smersh stuff. So that's interesting. But yeah, they make it very clear that not only is he Korean, he gets very angry when anyone mistakes him for Japanese. That's a plot point.
Interesting.
Which I think that's real, right? Like,
kind of wish we had that in this movie a little bit.
I do too. We do have, he eats cats. That's something like, Goldfinger gives him a cat and says, I'm going to do this to Tilly Masterson if you don't listen to me. And then he has at the cat. What else? Oh, and only the people that work for him are all Korean. So
Okay.
Ian
I thought
Fleming
it was
does this.
fascinating that that in this movie they were like, well, these are Chinese, this is Korean, and these women are British,
Yeah,
and he's German. Like it's very
it's
weird.
all over the place. Like in the movie, there is a line in the movie where they say he's British, but he doesn't sound like it. And I think that's just because the actor had a German accent. Like he's British in the book.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, so there's some stuff about Odd Job, and it's not all problematic. But like there's a lot of, and that's in this movie too. Like he's a brute. He's
Yeah.
like he's literally just muscle.
Yes, he is. He's very tall. He's taller than Sean Connery. He looked great in the fights. Like he is like just
He's
throwing
menacing.
him around, and it looks. It was a little slow, but it's like genuinely, he's a strong guy. He looks great. He's not. He's not just like a big guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he's like a robust, just like tall
Yeah,
man. Like
he's got this
yeah,
booming chest, and his face acting in this is great.
he's handsome. He's a
Like
good looking guy.
he's a good looking guy, and he gives these looks, especially at the end when him and Bond are facing off. And like I love that scene where Bond is like handcuffed to this huge nuclear device, and he's trying to like shimmy it like he's playing Tetris because he's got to get to the key because Odd Job, and this is Odd Job, man. Goldfinger locks them in. Goldfinger's third in command goes, screw this, I'm getting out of here. And Odd Job murders him, throws him off a
Oh
cliff. Odd Job's like, we're going down with
yeah.
the ship. The mission will be accomplished. And so he sees Bond trying to get him, and he runs down there. And there's just some great face acting where he's looking at Bond like, "What, you got nothing? What are you gonna do?" And he's right. Like he has Bond dead to rights. He gets lucky. The fact that that he severs the electricity, and then Bond is smart. Bond kind of corners him into it. But like, if that played out differently, like he couldn't have physically taken out Odd Job.
No, that's it's the imposing, or just that they get you in a corner, like in a bad place. I hate to think what he would do to him on a train. I feel like we have a lot of Bond henchmen foiled on a train or bested Bond on a train. But he gets his death is pretty awesome. That's a top death.
That is a great death.
Fried against the what is that? Just
like the bars that fall down, like because the bars fall into metal, and there's an electrical current that was cut, and like he tricks Odd Job into going to get his hat, and then electrocutes the whole thing.
He needs his hat.
And he has another pun. I didn't write it down. I forgot what it was, but he does have a pun about like electrifying or something. Like they're loving the electricity puns in this one.
Well, is that a foreshadowing from the beginning to the end? It's water.
Oh, yeah,
it's in water.
Right. That's good. I didn't clock that, Ginny.
Well, this is the best Bond movie ever because of that.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, and then he dies. He is one of the best deaths. There's the iconic scene, of course, where he cuts the statue's head off.
Yes, of course.
We had to talk about that. A great Goldfinger moment. Like, what's the owner going to say? I am the owner, Mr. Bond. Oh, one more Goldfinger thing because I forgot because there's so many.
Go.
When they get caught and he just takes his jacket off and he's in military regalia.
Yes, and he puts the hat on. He's like, "We're all right,
Plan B, bitches." And like he comes out and he's like, "They're in there." And the second they turn their back, he fires on them with a machine gun.
I know that's when it gets scary to me because they're like, "All right, Bond, go to the president or go to America. Congratulations for winning the mission." And he has to get on the plane, and it's all sabotaged, and Goldfinger comes out, and that's kind of scary because
and he's still in the outfit.
He's still in the outfit.
He's got his golden handgun.
And it's like, and it's just, and he's like, then he becomes, because he's because he's not like, he's no like waif. He's like a formidable foe, like fighting Bond, and then he gets taken out.
He is the best. And thank you for setting this up for me, Ginny, because I almost forgot to talk about it. He gets the best death of any James Bond villain. I challenge anyone to tell me a better death than being sucked out of your own airplane on your own mission for revenge because you cocked things up.
Oh my gosh. I was like, because I knew he had I definitely forgot. I just never sometimes make it to the end of this movie sometimes. I mean, no, but I knew it was on a plane. I just don't. I think, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like
No,
horrible for the 60s. He goes out the window and you just watch it, like, right?
yeah,
He
I
gets
mean,
sucked
there's
out.
some wonky, like, not CGI, but there's some wonky special effects. That wasn't a CGI. But wonky now, let's not be ridiculous. We literally watch movies where comic book characters look like they exist in the real world.
Oh
Like, you can't look at this movie and go, "Oh, that looked like shit." No, in the '60s, that was fantastic.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. Oh, incredible. And I was like, and then it's satisfying and very satisfying.
So satisfying. Oh, I love it. Just get sucked out. Um, and then they crash because and that's the thing. And this again, this made no sense in the book to me either. So I'm not. It's not a ding. It's just the story. But like, why is Pussy Galore there? And we forgot to mention this, but she is the whole reason that
Saves the
they
day.
saved her. They
Yeah.
saved the day. Like, we made a joke about him fucking her straight, but the reality is he convinces her to send word to Leiter and everyone to, like, hey, they're going to be dropping these gas canisters, and she switches them out. Like, she's doing some real subversive stuff here. Like, why would she return to Goldfinger after that?
I know. It just like, or just like that he gets convinced. He could just convince her because they have like a banter going on. It was like almost like not
Yeah,
a friendship, but like you can just be drawn to Sean Connery. He's a charismatic person, and then eventually just trust him. And then if you fall in love with him, you fall in love with him. But I go, and get that rapport because if he convinces you, oh, he's evil, and just then we go through on that plan.
right.
That's fine. But she's on the plane. She was being held hostage. Plane crashes. They're all safe. And she gets to go. She's like, "Oh, we're being rescued. Great." And he pulls her down and is like, "We're not rescued yet."
Yeah.
What does he say?
No, he's like, it's no time for rescue or something like that. And then
Time for rescue later.
something like that, and it pulls the parachute over them. And I clocked not in a boat, but
Not in a boat.
near the water.
Fair.
I think the only reason it wasn't a boat is because it ended in a plane crash. There's no way you can justify them ending up in a boat.
half the plane floating in water. I do like that. I like a parachute because that's a great if the camera can't cut out, we can't have a digital camera cut out or
Right.
cut the boat away from another boat. We have to hide from prying eyes. So let's cover ourselves with a parachute. I do love that. I like we have to, privacy.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot, actually. I think it's, and again, like, these movies end with Bond having sex. Like, and I think they all end that way. Has there been a Bond movie that we have seen that didn't end with him getting it wet?
Casino Royale.
Oh,
also on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Well, we haven't watched on Her Majesty's Secret Service yet, but you're right, Casino Royale. But all right, but I'm willing, and stick with me here.
Well,
100%. He goes out and picks up 3 women after like that whole Vesper thing. Like the movie doesn't end. Yeah, the movie doesn't end with him getting it wet. But like especially Daniel Craig, that man spirals.
He does. That Bond would, yeah. Oh my gosh, I just think about because I was like Timothy Dalton movies. It was all very a lot of hookups.
Yeah, it's a lot of hookups. Timothy Dalton usually gets one. It's usually at the end. He's like a conservative Bond.
Well, he's just kissing in a pool with people. A lot of people are watching,
right.
And they're playing. There's a lot of playfulness.
Oh, all right. So I think we hit everything, right? We hit.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, this was a big episode. Anything we missed?
Odd Job as a caddy. They're like he's Goldfinger's caddy. I was like, okay. He's in a suit.
Like, yes, he's in a whole full black suit with his derby, which of course I love that derby. I used to wear one in high school. I always wanted to get it razor tipped, but you can't really do that in real life. I had to cut my hands up, something bad. But I love the line though too, and he's like, "Well, he's a great manservant, but not much of a caddy."
I know.
Oh, and when Oddjob, because the whole thing in the golf thing was like the Slazenger 1 versus Slazenger
Yes.
7, and Bond, like being the royal dick he is, goes, "Oh, I think you dropped the Slazenger 1, so you know that I've got my money, that I've cheated." Ha ha ha. And Oddjob just goes, he crushes it.
And you all wish, I think everybody loves that scene because they wish they had a caddy that would do that, and would just defend you.
Absolutely. I got two lines I want to talk about. The first is the last quip of the episode of the movie, when Pussy Galore goes, "Where's Goldfinger?" Right at the end, after he's dead, and he goes, "Probably playing his golden harp."
Oh yes, yes.
I love
Murder.
that line. And I love the Felix Leiter line when he's setting him up to go on that plane. And he's like, we told the staff alcohol for 3. Oh, who are the other 2? No, it's just you.
I hope someone would say that to me. I just hope I hope they would love me enough to be like, and it's drinks for 3.
Right. No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh,
my goodness. Yeah. Oh, I do love, again, terms of charm, the one line of, he pays me to be seen with him. And he goes, "Just seen." And she's like, "Just seen." And he's like, "I'm so glad." I was like, ah, I swooned.
We missed this one. It's in the beginning of the movie, but I did make a note of it. I love the scene where M takes Bond to dinner with like the gold brick guy, and M is enjoying his brandy.
Yeah.
And the gold brick guy's like, "Here, Bond, please have some more of this terrible brandy. I'm really just trying to unload it on you." And M is like, "Terrible?" And Bond just like, "Well, yeah." And he explains everything wrong with it. And he's like, "Yeah, look, the only lecture being given tonight is by gold brick guy here, Bond."
And to follow up on that, my queen, Moneypenny, is super flirting with Bond, and is like, "Okay, when are you going to propose? Let's just do this. Like, where's my ring?" And Bond is like, "Well, I can't do that." And M is listening on the call. And what's he say? He's like, "Could you just not like do this at work, please?" And he's like, "Who's the date with, Bond?" And he goes, and M cuts in and goes, "It's with me. So no more flirting."
Yeah, it's like it's not exactly this, but the spirit. He's like, "If you could forego with the usual grab ass, I don't want 007 to be late tonight." And it's not grab ass; it's something that would be more time appropriate.
It's very British,
but it's the same feeling.
I love her so much. Ugh,
She's
I
fantastic.
want her to win. I love her. I know, she's so.
Well, you know what,
Lois
though?
Maxwell.
She does win because Bond never gets his paws on her. That's why. All right. She gets to live a whole life where I'm sure she fucks lots of hot guys. Maybe not as hot as Sean Connery, but hey, you know what? We don't all get aces, okay?
She has a great job and she definitely like gets married, has a lot of babies, and I think she lived a great life. And also knowing that she just flirted, because sometimes flirting is wonderful. And I will tell that to my daughters. Flirting is delightful, and you don't have to do anything. And sometimes men are men, and you can just flirt and have a great life with and move on and know that you have that power.
That's it. Flirting is the thing I miss most about being single, because you can't really do it when you're
It's
married. But it's fun. It's meaningless for the most part, And yeah, that's all. And that's what this is. I like that. I like that read of her. Like, she doesn't even want this. This is fun. Yeah, I get
her job is dull.
Right. Yes. Her job is dull. It's the 60s. Maybe she's a bit older. Like maybe she's like 29, so she's a spinster. Oh, get this old lady out of here. But she'll be fine. And she just gets to dip her toe a little bit in danger with this like sexy misogynist who's like killed people. Yeah. And like she doesn't want a life with that. She just wants that toe dip. She just wants that back and forth. I love that.
I love that for her. Oh my gosh, love Moneypenny. Always love Moneypenny.
I do too. This is my favorite. My second favorite is the one from Pierce Brosnan's run.
Yes, agreed.
But this is my favorite. This is a classic Moneypenny.
Wonderful. Let me see. Goldfinger sounds like a nail varnish.
It does.
I call it out. Just call it out how silly it sounds.
It does sound very silly. I want to call out the old woman who jumps out with a machine gun while Bond is doing his like racing around, and he and I don't know why he did this. Like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it right now. If I'm in a car and I think and I know you're trying to kill me, I don't care if you're an old woman. I'm running you down. But he goes out of her way to get a like. She's shooting you with a machine gun. What are you doing?
Great
And then
point.
proceeds to run down a whole bunch of the Chinese men.
Just choose.
But the Chinese men were they had no
Unarmed.
weapons. They
That's right.
literally only kept getting to him because he kept driving around them and they kept jumping in the fucking car.
Not a great look. Well, this is where misogyny isn't great, sometimes. You can't just do that. Misogyny doesn't benefit men,
Exactly. Look, I'm not a misogynist. If a woman with a machine gun's trying to kill me, I'm going to end her. Same
that's
I
what
do as a man.
That's what the movement was really about, really.
That's right. It's just that you end women like you end men. That's it. That's all they wanted
That's
was
what we were
equality.
fighting for. That was it. That was it. The gas scene was great. Gas scene was beautiful. The gas when they gassed all the villain, the board.
That was really cool, and it's one of those scenes that would never work in real life. Like, it's not realistic. Like, everyone is going to fall on cue at the same time.
The
like,
one guy is like banging on the wall. Yeah,
right. And I love though the care they took, where like they had flipped over vans and like. Do you think like they went in like with cars and shit like and trucks? Like, all right, what are we gonna do? We're gonna flip this van over and we'll use it as cover, and then we're gonna flip that car over. Felix, we're not gonna flip your car over. You're just gonna lie there like you're asleep. But you're the one who's gonna give us the signal when we can get up.
Oh my gosh.
And how long do you think they trained? Like, do you think they were training like the military men running, and like the drill sergeant was left, right, drop. It's like Andy. It's like Andy walked in Toy Story.
That might be trained. That might be necessary. I don't know what the current.
I don't know, but I'll tell you, it's one of those things I didn't care. Like, obviously, it's ridiculous and it would never work, but it looked cool and I enjoyed the hell out of that scene.
Oh my gosh! Anything else? I guess martini.
Yes.
Classic martini, shaken not stirred, is there.
It is. Oh, and that talking about the comedy in this movie, how funny is that scene when he goes into the bathroom on the plane and Mei Lin is told to keep an eye on him, and she just keeps going from the different like peepholes, and he keeps finding the peepholes, and he like puts his suitcase up on one of them and hangs a suit on the other, and then at the end he's shaving when he knows like he's already, and what he was trying to do was get the homing device activated in his shoe so people knew where he was, and he does that, and he's just fucking with her, and he's like shaving, and he takes like the cream and just puts it over the peephole. And she has this comedic response every time.
It's a great reaction. I love that. Let that be a lesson to everyone. Try to find the peepholes, cover them up, be strategic.
That's right. Look, that was Bond showing that though he has made grave mistakes that have put his life and the life of millions in danger on this mission, he's still got some chops. He's just rough around the edges.
He's learning. He's growing. He's got a lot of growth.
Only his third mission.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I think that's all I got. I did my Goldfinger gushing. I love that the industrial laser comes back. Like they use it to break into Fort Knox. I never clocked that, or I never remembered that before.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was talking about. And I was like, because they're really, I mean, it's going up a certain part of his body where he doesn't want it to get to. He's like, I need it. But it's really just it's just to cut through concrete, and I was like, oh well, they're putting it to plan. It's going through.
Chekhov's laser. Look, Goldfinger understood Chekhov's rules.
He's like, we have to have it come to fruition, everyone.
I'm surprised that those pinochle games didn't come back at the end of this.
Oh no. All right. Oh my gosh. This movie is amazing.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not even gonna ask. Obviously, this is a successful mission. Maybe not for James Bond, but certainly for us as moviegoers.
classic cinema. Yeah, it is. It's just, I think. I mean, when people say, "Is this your favorite Bond movie?" I think this should This is yeah, I mean, we'll get there, but I go, right? This is I want to rewatch this
It's
movie, sit down and rewatch this movie with my husband because I'm like, oh gosh, this is all great. This is all such a good vibe. Good summer movie.
it's
All the Sean Connery movies are great summer movies.
I agree. And this is one of the, famously, Regina hates everything that I watch and do. But I'm kidding. But we don't. She doesn't really like stuff like this. And she sat down, not with me this time because time didn't allow it, but about a year or two ago, like when Sean Connery passed, whenever that
Yeah.
was, I rewatched this movie and she watched it with me, and even she was like, "That was good. That's a good movie." And of course, her thing is Sean Connery is amazing, like hot, and that's what kept her going.
I mean, doesn't it all? Doesn't it keep us all of us? Oh no, it's a classic. It's so good.
Yeah, if anyone has not seen this movie, go out and see. Do yourself a favor. This is I mean, just not even just a fantastic Bond movie. It's just a great movie. Like
Yeah.
the performances, even the new like every actor, even the guy who played Oddjob is fantastic. He has no lines, plays a mute. Um, Honor Blackman is killing it. Sean Connery, this is like at his best. Like, because we were talking about how you can't imitate Sean Connery in this, and
Hmm.
I think Sean Connery got to a point where he couldn't tap into it.
No,
Like
it's a
I think
magic.
it is. Like I think he is losing it, if I remember correctly. And You Only Live Twice,
Okay.
and I think it's almost gone in Diamonds Are Forever. Like he's not. It's not the same. And then when he comes back and does, and we'll cover that too. Never Say Never Again. He kind of proves that no, he's lost it for good.
Damn. I and I go, but you also go watch if it's on Disney Plus, go watch Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which I watched a few years ago. And
Okay,
it's the 50s and it's Sean Connery being Irish. But he's very charming and very Bond. Like it's like I don't know, it's
interesting.
not a world weariness yet. But then he gets the charm back in the 90s, right? Doesn't
No,
he?
he's well.
Or the
This is the thing
80s,
is, he definitely. I'm not saying he loses his charm. I'm
but it's
saying
a
he
Bond.
loses the ability to be that James Bond.
Just don't want to be Bond anymore.
Well, and I think that's part of it. He didn't want to do it anymore. It became a cash grab. He wasn't happy with it. He wanted to do other things with his career, and rightfully so. And look, the man had a brilliant career. I mean, he did these Sean Connery action star hot guy movies. He did. Like, have you ever seen Zardoz, Ginny?
No. No, I have
Zardoz
not.
is batshit crazy. Have you ever seen a picture of him in Zardoz?
I have, and I know the plot of it. We maybe are we due for a remake or no?
I don't like. That's like remaking Troll 2 or The Room. What? How could you possibly? I mean, it wasn't good. It was just weird.
I feel like it's a feminist movie, but no, probably not.
I mean, as much as Barbarella is. I mean, they're all the same
Right.
ilk. Yeah, but then he like reinvents himself, like and we start getting like when he gets older, we start getting like The Rock, Sean Connery, where he
Mhm.
actually proves that he, even as an older man, he can still do a kick-ass James Bond. It's just
Yeah.
not the James Bond and Goldfinger. And then we get when he comes out as Indiana Jones's dad. I mean, that for me, that is like just as iconic as him as James Bond.
See, I think I love the idea of just this chill James Bond. That's why I think the Rock theory is I can't wait to watch it like totally because I've never seen it all the way through. As envisioning that it's a Bond, like it's Bond, this Bond.
Right.
Because it's like the Roger Moore thing. I wish Roger Moore's run was like could have just been like is a weird alternate universe where if we just had like a Daniel Craig plot in a Roger Moore with a Roger Moore, maybe that's pretty cool and edgy. And I just like the idea of an alternate universe where I mean, and we have it is like maybe The Rock, where it's an
Mm,
older version of this 60s Bond that's still chill and cool and dashing and
right.
that
And really
exists.
good at his
And
job.
really
And
is
yeah.
yeah. And
Actually, you know what? Maybe that's where they need to go. Give us old Bond.
yeah, like
You're
old
right.
Batman.
Right, which they did, and if the DCEU could have gotten shit together, I think they could have done something really good with it. But like, yeah, because people are always floating Idris Elba, and then they're saying he's too old. Well, not if you make him older.
No, yes, not if we just have him like living his life and consulting and
Right,
get
like
out
a
of
Bond, like
retirement.
that would of course be it, right? He's
Yes.
consulting. or he's reclusive and he's got to get pulled out of
reclusive.
retirement.
He's reclusive.
He's reclusive, yeah.
And he has a scar in his face. He has a big scar in his face. It's Skyfall.
It's Skyfall with an old Bond.
He's just way older.
Oh, but this was thank you for that. Thank you for joining me tonight, Ginny. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, this was wonderful. Thank you. Oh, I had a great time, and I was like, and I can't wait to watch it again. I'll say that.
Yeah. Oh, this is, and again, my favorite. Like, I've said that from start to finish. It's never going to change. Like, it's just too perfect for me. All right, so that is the end of our Goldfinger episode. We were excited. We were texting back and forth today about this. Join us. Thank you for joining us wherever you got us. We appreciate the support, the love. Hope you guys had fun. Join us next Monday at 8:30 where we dive into Thunderball, which for me, I don't remember Thunderball at all. I've seen it once or twice.
I just know Tom Jones does a theme song.
Yes, he
and
does.
My mother-in-law, who's a very sweet woman, very sweet, told me one of her first concerts was Tom Jones. And I like gasped because I was like, Barbara, Tom Jones.
Was she throwing bras? That's what they did to Tom Jones, right? They throw underwear at him.
A Welshman.
Yeah. Oh, but so I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into Thunderball because I don't really remember much of it, and I get a week off from listening to the books because Thunderball was written as a film adaptation by Ian Fleming, so I'm not going to bother to listen to that.
Fascinating,
because there's nothing to compare it to. So yeah, but let's say you're looking for other stuff on the network, other things you want to hear. Well, if you're interested in all of the pop culture fun that comes with geeky goodness of comic books, then come visit us. Usually we're at Wednesday at 8:30. I think this week we're going on Friday at 12:30 or something because Ed has a conflict. But Granny's Peach Tea, where this week we are covering. I'm blanking on what we're covering. We're covering Harley Quinn. We're covering Harley Quinn. Which, by the way, Ginny, you need to watch the last episode of Harley Quinn because Swamp Thing's in it.
Ah, my baby boy. Oh my goodness.
You have to watch it. I think you're going to find a new appreciation for Nora Freeze. Text me when that makes sense.
Oh
no. You got to watch this episode. It's crazy. But we're going to do that. We're going to be doing the Incredible Hulk as a lead up into She-Hulk, which we're also going to be covering.
When you say the TV show?
No, we're going to be doing the Ed Norton one because we're getting Tim Roth is in this show.
Yes,
it's connected. It's all within the MCU. So yeah, Tim Roth's come back as Abomination.
As Abomination?
So I'm pretty excited.
Gosh. Okay, I have to. Okay, I'll listen to your show and I'll chime in. When you guys are doing it?
It's like Friday at 12:30. It's a hard one to catch.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing that. So join us on that. If you're interested in Star Wars, Tim is doing Shooting the Sith. I'm not sure exactly when he's going on, but you can check the page for that. I know that Andor is going to be coming out soon, so he's really excited, primed up to do Andor. Then let's say you want to see other pop culture stuff that is not Star Wars or necessarily only comic book stuff. You can join Don for Am I on the Air? Again, I'm not sure when his show airs, but it is here on the network. You can take a look at the website and find that out. If you are into wrestling, then join Tim and Eric for Just Too Sweet Show, where they break down everything going on in the world of wrestling. And from what I understand, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll get back. I'll come on their show when the Honky Tonk Man comes out of retirement. That's what I'm saying. Because he was cool, he was cocky, and he was bad, Ginny.
Well,
do you even know who that is?
No.
I realize I've just pulled an 80s wrestler making a reference that you probably won't get. He was a wrestler who was Elvis Presley, called the Honky Tonk Man.
Okay.
And he was a cheater, and he hit people with guitars, and he was one of my favorites.
Love that.
But let's say that you're into Disney, and we're talking not just Disney movies, but Disney parks. Then you can join Skyliner Reviews, where they talk everything in the Disney park, sort of going around. I know the last episode they did the Star Wars part of the Disney parks, and we had a crossover with Tim. So go and take a look at that episode and check out the newer one coming up. If you're into sports, you could join Bossman Steve Faraci for Put It in the Book Show, which covers everything Mets baseball, right? Mets, yeah, Queens.
Passionate.
But let's say you're not a Mets fan. Let's say you're a Yankee fan. And I know, from what I understand, they have to do battle once a year to the death. It's a crazy thing. That's why I don't watch baseball. But for actual real information on baseball, Yankee baseball, you can join Ed and Lisa for the Empire 161 show, where they cover everything current and new in Yankee baseball. Let's see. All right, but maybe you don't like any of that. Maybe you like a more eclectic everything, a late night talk show feel, the kind that you used to get from the David Letterman show when David Letterman was drunken in his basement. I don't know. No, I've been watching the old David Letterman shows, and he's not in his basement, but he's very clearly drunk in some of those episodes.
All right. Okay.
And he's really surly to his guests a lot. I love Letterman in the 80s.
They're all
really
jerks. They're all suffered no fools.
No, it's great. So I've been watching that. But if you like that kind of stuff, not that Eric is a drinker, because I don't think he is, and not that he's a jerk, because he's a wonderful guy, but he has that David Letterman energy. So you can join him and Tim on the A to Z show, where they cover everything. And this is going to be my last one, because I lost my list. My list got destroyed, and it's my last one till I can make another list, because I foolishly put it somewhere where spillage could happen. But where they cover everything from Azazel to Zalag.
I don't know what those are.
Azazel is a demon from the Sandman, and also from like demonology.
Yes.
Right, and or maybe he's an angel. I don't remember. But and Zalag is like the demon of gluttony or something. I had to look that one up.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that'll be my last one for a while till I can recreate my list. All right, so Ginny, I just got one more question for you. Do you expect me to talk?
No, I expect you to log off.